Members, it's the appointed time, and we have a quorum. We now proceed to the election of chairman for the panel on food safety and environmental hygiene. Members were informed that as of the deadline for candidacy for chairmanship, only one valid nomination was received. The member nominated was Mr. Stephen Ho. He was nominated by Mr. Vincent Chang and seconded by Ms. Rebecca Chan. Mr. Rebecca Chan was not elected chairman or deputy chairman on the list of government advisory bodies that are directly relevant. Mr. Ho was not elected chairman or deputy chairman of any other panel. According to the rules of procedure and House rules, I announce that Mr. Stephen Ho is elected chairman of the panel on food safety and environmental hygiene for the current legislative session. I'd like to thank members for your support. We now proceed to election of deputy chairman for the panel on food safety and environmental hygiene. The Secretariat informed members that as of the deadline for making nominations for chairmanship, only one nomination was received. The member nominated is Judy Chan. She was nominated by Mr. Kent Leung and seconded by Mr. Chen Pui Leung. Ms. Judy Chan was not elected chairman or vice chairman of any organization on the list of government advisory bodies, and Ms. Chan was not elected as chairman or vice or deputy chairman of any other panel either. I announce that Ms. Judy Chan is elected deputy chairman of the panel. Congratulations. Item number 2, schedule of meetings for the 2022 session. Members noted that the LegCo president has decided on the dates of LegCo meetings from January the 12th to mid-July according to Rule 14(1) of the Rules of Procedure. It is recommended by the Secretariat that the dates of the panel meetings from February to July be set. Please refer to the schedule attached. The regular meeting will be scheduled on every Tuesday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Since the Finance Committee would tentatively hold special meetings on April the 8th and April 11th to 14th, members could consider changing the dates of the regular meetings in April of the panel to the 4th of April, 4:30 p.m. or the 22nd of April, 10:45 a.m. The Secretariat would issue a notice, and the meeting is likely to be rescheduled to April the 4th. Item number 3, items for discussion at the next meeting. If members agree, the regular meeting in February will be held on February the 8th at 2:30 p.m. The LegCo meetings on the 16th to 18th of February would be the policy address motion debate. The administration, on the recommendation of the administration, the Secretariat has reserved February the 8th, 2:30 to 4 p.m. for the Secretary for Food and Health to brief members on the policy address 2021. Any comments from members? The session will cover the topic of government restructuring. The regular meeting in March will be held on March the 8th at 2:30 p.m. And there are 2 agenda items. First, retention of the private Columbia office and the 2 corresponding directorate posts, and B, to promote the sustainable development of mariculture. If members have no objections, these items will be discussed. Later, together with the Deputy Chairman, I will hold a work plan meeting with the Secretary for Food and Health to discuss the discussion items in the coming regular meetings. After the work plan meeting, members will be informed of the proposed discussion items and arrangements. If members wish to propose any items, you may let us know, and we will discuss with the administration on the proposed items. Mr. Gary Chan, Mr. Vincent Chang, and Mr. Peter Shiu, and Mr. Teng Ka-piu. We have 4. 1 minute each. Mr. Gary Chan. Chairman, I'd like to call to the panel's attention 3 issues. We see that the Japanese government decided to discharge the contaminated water from Fukushima to the ocean, and I'd like to monitor the foodstuff imported from Japan and whether they could be contaminated. As for the licensing of private columbarium, work had started and legislation was passed 2 or 3 years ago. It's time to brief the panel on that. And in terms of animal welfare, we talked about capture, neuter, release programs, and I believe it's time to brief members on the latest situation. I hope these items could be included on the agendas. Mr. Vincent Chang. I propose 2 items, that is shopfront obstructions at markets and unlicensed hawkers. We saw cases in which hawking activities took place in midnight, giving rise to environmental hygiene concerns. And another issue is rodent nuisance. It's about ensuring environmental hygiene and whether territory-wide operations will be conducted again. Mr. Peter Shiu, I'd like to talk about street cleansing. Some shops place a lot of goods outside their stores, including carts and trolleys. Hopefully, the Food and Health Bureau could do something about it. And in terms of foodstuff such as chicken and hairy crabs from the mainland, apparently we have not heard anything on that. Hairy crabs could be imported to Hong Kong via Korea, but not directly from the mainland. What is the reason for farmers who grow, or for the flower growers? The flower market this year has been cancelled and they have really suffered financially. Hopefully we can discuss this issue as well. Mr. Teng Ka-piu, I have 4 proposed items. That is enhancement of wet markets managed by the FEHD, the installation of air conditioners, electronic payment, and we want to enhance the hygiene of wet markets as well. And we also want to discuss the Yumen Square Fair. It is managed by the FEHD. And in terms of pork from the US, I think we should align ourselves with the mainland. For members can also propose items in writing. And on about February the 11th, myself and Ms. Judy Chan will discuss the discussion items with the administration. So please send in your proposed items as soon as possible. Anyone else? Mr. Tang. For the water seepage joint office, I believe that should be on the agenda as well. Ms. Zhou Fi Chan. For the U.S. pork discharge from the Fukushima nuclear plant in Japan, food safety is part of national security, and we should follow up on that at the panel. Like Mr. Tang said, I believe many markets could be renovated and enhanced, and we should also follow up on vacant wet markets. For example, the Chungking Y market, it has been left vacant for years, and we have the mill next to it, which is very popular with young people. So we should renovate vacant markets for the benefit of our young people. Mr. Yang Wen Kit, and we see a lot of management issues related to wet markets, and this should be discussed as well. Mr. Leung Man Kwong, in terms of animal welfare, we saw cases of smuggled animals in Hong Kong, or animals that were inadvertently smuggled into Hong Kong. They were quarantined and they were then adopted by the public. For animals detected or smuggled into Hong Kong, I think we should discuss how we deal with it. Mr. Lee Sai-wing, Mr. Stanley Lee. Mosquitoes is another nuisance, so perhaps this FEHD can adopt new technology to deal with rodent and mosquito nuisance. For cleansing workers engaged by the FEHD, over the course of cleansing operations, many tools and equipment are involved, and such equipment are often placed randomly on the streets. The FHD should provide dedicated storage for such equipment in order to prevent obstructions. We have a number of new legislators this term, and in the past, the panel followed up on issues such as animal welfare, wet markets, rodent and mosquito nuisance, etc. I suggest members to refer to past relevant past papers of the panel. That way our work could be made smoother going forward. Barring any other questions, we shall enter the last item. Any other business? If there's no other question, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.